Hey guys, welcome to Josh's Weight Loss Diary. I'm Josh, and I want to talk to you guys today about something that's really important that I don't think it gets enough traction in the carnivore community. I think it gets addressed at times, but maybe not enough. And I believe it truly is a major Achilles heel in people doing carnivore. So stick around. You're going to want to watch the entire video because everything I say in here hopefully should help you in some way, form, or fashion, right? I try to keep my videos simple, guys, so there's not going to be any flashy stuff. I apologize. Just bear with me, okay? And if this video helps you, hey, click like. That's all I ask. If you want to sub, I do share my daily journal every day, my struggles. So one thing that I really want to address in carnivore is something that, again, when you're doing carnivore, okay, let me just say this. For those of you that maybe you're like wondering, is carnivore good, bad, should I do it or not? And the answer is, yeah, you should do it. Okay. It's good. However, just keep in mind there is things that's going to probably happen in your life. Maybe not. This may not apply to everybody, but so many people that I talk to, this applies to. Okay, whether they admit it or not. Okay, and the thing I want to really pinpoint is the social pressure of carnivore. I don't think it gets really talked about enough. I think we do talk about it to a point, but I wanted this video to be solely dedicated because I feel like it's such an important topic. So what do I mean? Well, so there's going to be some different forms of pressure. First of all, in my situation, for example, when I was married, I started carnivore. And after 2 months, I quit because of the pressure. Because at the time, my wife at the time just was like, she didn't want to hear the science. She thought that not eating vegetables, she saw me eating like bacon and hamburgers every day with like no vegetables. She thought I was going to have a heart attack. Okay. And she didn't want to watch the videos. She didn't want to listen to the science. And then she started using, like, she would make dinner and she would make like some of my favorites, with pasta, bread, sugar stuff. And I would get home from work and I'd be like, honey, I can't eat that. Like and I would have to make something else and she would take it personal. Oh, you don't like my cooking, now, or like I'm not good enough for you, like that kind of stuff. And, and it's easy just to say, oh, well, that's probably why you're divorced. Well, that's not fair, because you also have to remember her point, which was she's cooking from love. She's, that was a way that it was self-destructive, but that was a way that we would, show our love to each other, is through cooking as well. So I would cook amazing things for her and, fatten her up, and she would do the same to me. And so you can't completely falter for that. But eventually I caved back in and went back to normal. Well, then eventually I said, screw it. I'm going to do it, because she ended up becoming like a regular Twitch streamer at night. So I started doing all the cooking at night. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do carnivore. So I would make meals that, like, where I could make something that had meat or chicken or whatever, and then just add vegetables to hers. You know what I mean? So I was able to kind of have those keto style meals, and that was working. But again, she knew what I was doing though, but she really wasn't in a position to complain about it. And so she was, supportive about it for the most part. but there was that pressure. Now, the other pressures is if you're in a family, you're married. All right, you know what I'm talking about. If you're married and if you're the only one doing carnivore and nobody else in the household is, again, there's going to be some awkwardness, tension, and you're going to feel like the holidays are going to roll around, right? You're going to start making excuses like, hey, it's just the holidays. Hey, I can have some of her holiday cookies because, I mean, it's the holidays and I'll be strict, January, I mean, you just start wheeling dealing. And before you know it, you're defeating the purpose of carnivore. I know, because for those of you that don't know, I did carnivore for almost a year, lost almost 90 pounds. All my health issues went away. I mean, we're talking a bunch of stuff. Okay, diabetes, sleep apnea, snoring, aches and pains, arthritis. There was a lot of other fun side effects. My shoulder injury from 2011. It was like it's gone. So there was amazing things, and then I failed. You guys can go back, watch some videos. I failed because I left the diet. The diet didn't fail me. I left the diet. Why? Because of social pressures. I had visitors in town. And so what do? They wanted to go to a microbrewery. I didn't have to drink, and I chose to. And I drank. I had some drinks. It was on the weekend. Went through the rest of the week eating carnivore. No problems. There was no consequences that I could tell. So guess what? In my mind, I'm like, hey, I could probably handle a few drinks every once in a while on the weekends. Well, next thing you know, every other weekend or every weekend, I'm having drinks. I'm going to the bars. I'm going to the breweries. And then it just takes one or two slip ups. All of a sudden you got a good buzz on, and somebody orders a pizza at the bar and they're like, hey, I'm telling you, man, it's so easy to slip up. So anyways, I don't want to get into the complete failures, but that's part of that social pressure. Okay. I'm telling you, it is real. So many carnivores fail because there's social pressures, and you just will feel it. Cause like I said, even for me now, again, I know there's carnivores that's been out there a year, 2, 3, 4, 5+ years. Okay. I get it. Everybody's different. Okay. I'm addressing this because I have trouble with that. I can't moderate alcohol. I can't moderate sugar. I can't moderate like bread and pasta. Like if I start eating a little bit of it, I'm going to want more. I can't moderate. That's why carnivore is so good to me. When I'm on carnivore, when I was on for that almost entire year, straight carnivore, it was good to me. I felt the best I've ever felt in my life. I lost, like I said, almost 90 pounds. So that's what I'm saying. It is so imperative that you truly have to battle, unless you're, again, there's people out there, they don't worry about it. And that's awesome. I wish I was one of them. But if you're like me, and because, I've always been, like I'll look and see, these other people. I used to always see them. They would like, you'd see these stories about losing weight on these diets and all this other stuff. And you're like, well, good for them. They have some kind of willpower, something more than what I have. And that's the way I always thought. I didn't think nothing would work for me. And then carnivore, I literally researched, I watched videos for damn near 2 years, but I was married at the time. And I just kind of like, I didn't know how, I just kept kind of researching it. I didn't know how to approach my wife at the time about it. And when I would try to talk to her about, keto, things like that, again, she wasn't ready. So I damn near researched carnivore for like 2 years. But then that 2 months I told you earlier, when I did it for 2 months, I lost 30 pounds in that 2 months. And I felt amazing. And so when when I gave in to her, when I finally gave in, I went back into this depression and all my aches and pains came back. I was sleeping sitting up back then, 330 pounds. I just, it went back to dark days. So when I finally got back into carnivore, that's why it lasted a year. And it would have lasted, it would have been maybe a year and a half now or something. If I would have stayed on it, and God knows I would have been really looking much better if I wouldn't have fell off the wagon back in November. So my point where I'm going with all this is, guys, is that the social pressures are real. You have to acknowledge them. You have to be prepared. Being prepared helps to combat many things. And what I mean by that is, food prep. I know some people are like, oh, food prep. Man, I don't want to be prepping food. I want to just go and whatever. Look, on carnivore, you may not have to prep, but you got to at least think ahead. Sorry, that's going to be kind of the drawback to carnivore. Carnivore, you have to think ahead. If you just try to wing it every day, then you're going to end up giving into something. You want to have certain things on hand. You want to have, something for snacks in case you get in snacks. You want to have something ready to go in different situations, if that makes sense. Okay. So it's not necessarily meal prep. You don't have to like cook a bunch of things and put it in Tupperware containers and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can do some things. So for instance, one thing that I will do is I'll just spend an hour to a couple hours on the weekend. I'll usually pick a time like early morning or something, when not a lot's going on, whatever. And I get 4 pounds of bacon. Okay, they sell these double bacon packs, these double 2-pound bacon packs at Sam's Club. So I'll get thick cut market side bacon, and I will spend, I think I usually can do it in 3 batches, maybe. I think I can do it in about 3 batches, right? So what I'll do is I'll start baking all of that in 3 batches, okay? And then and I'll put it in a huge, large Tupperware container. And generally speaking, that is my snack bacon for the week. So that's about the only prep I do for snack type of prep, is just baking bacon in a large container. The point of this video is to talk about social pressure. And that is a really hard thing to deal with, because again, it's like when you see other people enjoying all the great things in life, you think they're great things. Like in your mind, they're like, oh, they're getting to go out and have some beer and wine and have a pizza and go to these fabulous restaurants that brag about these foods. When in fact, it's kind of bad, because a lot of it actually is toxic. It's just tasty poison. And we've built a culture around it. And so, but it's unfortunate. So you really have to start standing your ground, and you don't necessarily have to go around and tell your friends like, hey, I'm carnivore. You can just tell them, hey, I'm dieting. It's a kind of a zero carb, zero sugar thing. And so they might be like, oh, like keto. And you're like, yeah, something like that. And they're like, oh, so I mean, you don't necessarily have to like tell them that. You just tell them that you're dieting, and then, order things the way you need to. You can go to almost any restaurant and find some type of steak that there's not a lot of side dishes to it. Or even if you get the side dishes, you don't have to eat them. Sometimes you can even substitute sides for certain things. I tend to end up, like, I know one time I went out to dinner when I was eating carnivore, and I found a dish. I think it was at Chili's, the restaurant Chili's. I think they actually had like a sirloin steak and it has like a side of broccoli. It's a very plain sort of affordable dish. And so what I did was they had steamed broccoli and steak. And so I ate the steak and I even ate a few bites of broccoli just to, because people were there and I was with people. But that's actually technically keto. So those couple pieces of broccoli weren't horrible. Now I did pay for that a little later with some gas, you know. Um, so the point is start trying to think ahead to places if you can try to dictate where you go to eat. But if you can't, don't feel like a burden. Like don't make, you don't want people to. I always didn't like when people were like, "Oh, we know you're only eating carnivore, so where do you want to eat?" And I'd be like, "Look, guys, you can go wherever you want. We can go wherever you want." Because I know that sometimes like they don't want to just keep going to like steakhouses or whatever. They don't want to keep going to the same places. So, you just have to go somewhere and if you really can't find something, because sometimes there's like grilled chicken, bacon, burgers, a lot of times that you can get bunless, take the bun off. There's just different things you can if you're going to be out eating out. Those are some major social pressures. I just think in general too, one thing I've noticed is another quick thing I want to address is some of you guys will probably know this. If you scroll through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, anything that has like short videos like YouTube and all that, if you're a scroller, and I'm not a big scroller, but if you are, you guys know what I'm talking about. You'll scroll up to and I'm not gonna talk about the bad stuff. I'm just saying like there's all kinds of food recipes out there. And man, some of them they make it look amazing. And you're just like, oh my God. And then so you sit there and watch how it's made and it just fires up things in your brain. And you're just like, oh my God, like, man, I wouldn't mind making that sometime, for like and then you start playing the head games. Now you start to try to, bargain with yourself like, hey, you've been really good. It's been a couple of months and you could have a cheat day. No, you don't want that because if you really get in the rhythm of carnivore, one of the best things is if you stay strict carnivore, you will keep getting rewarded. It's only when you do have these cheat days or when you do sneak in something and you start messing up your ketosis a little bit or whatever, when you start messing with that, that's when you're just hurting yourself. But anyways, I'm going to start wrapping things up. I don't want to drone on and on about things. I hope you guys got some value from this video. I just wanted to let you know that this is a subject that I feel passionate about because this is probably the biggest thing that hurts me is just either, seeing all the recipe videos out there, things getting posted on social media, TV commercials. Like there's so much in your face product placement about food and cooking. And then you have your friends that are not carnivores and some of them seem to be in shape or thin. And some of your friends are like eating and enjoying these amazing things. We just don't talk about those social pressures enough. But guys, please keep those social pressures in mind. And be prepared, and you really have to muscle through mentally. I'm sorry, there's no other easy way to put it. You can eat all you want with carnivore. You can eat, but it doesn't matter when you have strong urges that may pulse through you. You still are going to have to hold those urges back. There's some tricks you can do. So maybe before we leave, I'll leave you with one tip for sure. Maybe. So a lot of times when you go carnivore, you're going to probably give up soda. If you're not a soda drinker, maybe you're giving up sweet tea. If you weren't a sweet tea drinker, maybe you're just a water drinker like me. I was always a water drinker anyways, but I didn't mind the occasional like root beer or cream soda or the occasional soda sometimes. but I wasn't a huge soda drinker. I like sweet tea. So when I gave all that up, I drank just straight water. However, one thing, and I can even prove it right now, after dinner, I have 1 cup of coffee with a splash of heavy cream. And that, it's not real sweet or anything, but it's like a treat. It's become a treat for me. And it's the one thing that helps for me to curb those dessert cravings right after dinner. So I just sip on some coffee and, and I don't go to bed for a while. So I'll just sip on it. And then after a while I'm done. And, then eventually I'll go to bed. It's just, that's my own little personal tip. You don't have to follow that. But there's other ways too. You can make little, treats, like little carnivore treats and stuff that are not really sweet. Snack bacon, like I was telling you earlier, when you make those 4 pounds of bacon, I make them in the oven in batches, do it all at once. And then when I take them out of the oven, by the way, just to finish up, I break them in half. So a lot of times too, I'll reach in there, I'll grab 3, good size length of pieces of bacon, throw them, sometimes you can throw them in the microwave for 30 seconds, kind of crisp them up a little more, like warm them up, or you can eat them cold. Believe it or not, they're great cold too. Either way, like I'm only eating 3 of those, and then that's only 1.5 strips of bacon. Versus if you don't break them up, you might grab 3 pieces of bacon, just because you're like, oh, I'll just get 3 pieces of bacon. Well, if you break them all in half, believe it or not, psychologically, you'll end up eating less. And I'm not saying you have to count calories. I'm just saying you don't want to put more than you have to in you as well. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of this video. If you got anything, please like it. If you want to subscribe to me, I would love to have you a part of my family. We have a great support structure here. A lot of people help me out. Like your guys' comments and things like that really helps me in my struggles every day. So, but guys, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.